Daniel Jeremiah back at it again just a week after the Super Bowl mock draft 2.0. Four quarterbacks in the first 8 picks. Bro has gifted us some spicy mock draft content. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, everyone knows Caleb Williams, Drake May. This is kind of everyone's 1-2 at this point, unless you're one of the people who maybe thinks Jaden Daniels should be here, or even JJ McCarthy, who is apparently the number 2 quarterback for an NFC East team, I believe. It might have just been an NFC team, but I remember hearing it was an NFC East team. Well, we got 2 NFC East teams in the top 6 picks. So who is it? We're probably going to find out on draft night. Is it going to be the Commanders, who have been mock Drake May or trading up for Caleb Williams for so long now? Maybe they trade up for JJ McCarthy. Who knows? I doubt that happens. But Caleb Williams, Drake May, it just makes sense. You move off Justin Fields if you're the Bears. You get some draft capital for it. You reset your market, or at least contract for your quarterback. And Caleb Williams, to me, is a generational talent. His improvisation skills are completely absurd. His arm talent is absurd. Everything about the kid is special. And then you go down to Drake May, who is also extremely special in his own right. He has great arm talent, arm strength. He has the mobility. 6'5", prototypical quarterback size. Both picks are sexy. Let's be real. But now let's get to where the draft really starts here. And not Hulu, but New England Patriots take Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I don't know how most Patriots fans feel about this. I don't mind it personally. You give Mac Jones another shot, maybe with a new OC coming in Van Pelt. Maybe he brings something that Mac Jones can actually work with, where he's better, a scheme that fits him and his skills a little bit more. Because let's be honest, I don't even know if the Patriots had a set scheme last year. It looked like, I was about to say organized chaos, but it basically was just chaos on the field on offense. Defense was damn near just about the same thing. So, but Marvin Harrison, you get a generational wide receiver, one of the best receiving or wide receiver prospects we've seen ever, and that's saying something because his dad was a Hall of Famer. So, I mean, the kid is special. He's a run blocker. He can high point. He's a route runner. Maybe not the greatest speed in the world, but he gets open. He gets separation. He's got great hands. That's what you want in your receiver. Pick number 4, Cardinals go Malik Neighbors. And another thing, Daniel Jeremiah doesn't do trades in his mock drafts, at least this early, he said. So just know that. Because I think if the Patriots were to go or were not to go QB, they're definitely a spot to trade down. Same with the Cardinals. And Malik Neighbors here for the Cardinals, I love. Kyler Murray will be fully healthy by the start of next year. Get him some receiving help. Hollywood Brown is a free agent, so you really have Greg Dortch, Trey McBride, and Michael Wilson. You get Malik Neighbors, bona fide number 1 wide receiver, and just an all-out playmaker. He will help your offense so much. He stretches the field. He can run underneath. You can put him in the damn backfield if you really want. I don't really care what you do with him. Just get the ball in his hands. Great pick here for the Cardinals. And probably the best receiver Kyler Murray's ever had, maybe? No shade to D-Hop, but we'll find out. Pick number 5. No, D-Hop will be his best wide receiver he's ever played with for a while. We'll have to, the jury would be out on Neighbors. But going to number 5, Los Angeles Chargers. Daniel Jeremiah goes Joe Alt, and I honestly love it. Jim Harbaugh coming in. He loves protection. He loves run blocking. Joe Alt might be one of the better run blockers in the draft, minus Talise Fuaga. And he's also a pretty decent pass blocker, so you get him across from Rashawn Slater. It's a match made in heaven. seriously, like that is your cornerstone, like tackles of the future. Slater's coming up on contract. You get Alt for at least 5 years on a rookie deal, and if he pans out really well, you're protecting one of the best quarterbacks in the league, maybe top three if he can actually get some pieces around him and Justin Herbert. And then you have a great coach now in Jim Harbaugh who actually knows what he's doing. He's been here. He's gone to the playoffs multiple times as a head coach. He's gone to the Super Bowl and probably should have won it if it weren't for the first half just being a complete blunder of play calling and just everything that happened in that first half of the Super Bowl. But I love the pick of Joe Alt. I think this could also be another receiver, maybe a Rome Odunze, maybe a Brock Bowers. I don't know because the Chargers are probably going to move off of Khalil Mack, I would assume, just because of the cap space situation. They are in literal cap hell, like sent straight from the devil himself. It's horrible to look at. Like it's all red. If you look at the Chargers cap, it is bad. So I don't know if you do release Khalil Mack, you still have Tui Peloto from the last draft that can be across from Bosa. Maybe do you want to move off of Bosa in the future? I don't know. But I do like shoring up that O-line here for the Chargers. Pick number 6, quarterback number 3 is Jayden Daniels going to the New York Giants. And as a Giants fan, I love this. Please move off of Daniel Jones. It is not going anywhere. If we keep Daniel Jones, I think Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are gone by next year. Like, genuinely. And I don't want that. Get someone who is a playmaker, who can develop under Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll has shown the ability to develop quarterbacks. Get someone who has a high ceiling like a Jayden Daniels. Because, yes, maybe similar skill sets, but not similar athleticism or arm talent. Yes, Daniel Jones is a dual threat. Jayden Daniels. Wait, did I say Jayden? Daniel Jones is a dual threat, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Jayden Daniels is also a dual threat, yeah, whatever. Daniels has the upper hand in arm talent, arm strength, athleticism, speed, all of it. Improvisation. Daniel Jones' improvisation kills me to watch. It is so horrible. It's one read and it's over. If it ain't there, it is over. 90% of the time. No hate on the guy, but God, it's just the other thing is no one in the NFC East, especially when the Giants go up against, say, the Eagles, the Cowboys, even the Commanders, for God's sake, no one is scared of Daniel Jones. It is Saquon Barkley. Every single day. They're like, we stop Saquon Barkley, we win the game. And that's been true for all 4 or 5 years of Daniel Jones' career. So get a playmaker in Daniels. I love this pick. Even if it was JJ McCarthy, I really don't mind it just because he has all the tools and I think Brian Daboll could get it out of him. Like, I seriously would not mind JJ McCarthy at 6 for the Giants. But I love the pick of Jayden Daniels. Heisman winner, obviously. The Florida game says everything you need to know about this dude. Pick number 7, everyone's favorite offensive line pick, Tennessee Titans. It just makes too much sense. You're going to want to keep Will Levis up on his feet because it looked like he wasn't going to have a foot after the injury that he got with that. I think it was a high ankle sprain, luckily, because it seriously could have ended up in like a broken fibula or tibia, whatever the hell the bone is. But Olu Fashanu, I love. He's been kind of flipped back and forth for me. Him and Joe Alt of OT1. And I don't know. If you want athleticism, it's going to be Fashanu. If you want just really solid, like most likely safe tackle prospect, it's going to be Joe Alt. So it's kind of like pick your poison, but the poison is like fine wine in a sense. But I mean, I could see this also being maybe Odunze or a defensive player, maybe a corner or an edge, the first edge off the board, just because the defensive talent outside of, Aziz Al-Shaair, who I think was only on a 1 year, maybe a 2 year, Jeffrey Simmons, and Harold Landry, I guess. Outside of those three guys, at least off the top of my head, you don't really got any world beaters on the defense. And if you put more guys, more talent around Jeffrey Simmons, you're going to have a lot of production from that defensive line. So I love the pick, though. Olu Fashanu is a great player here at 7. And more protection is always a good thing. Pick number 8, where we get a little spicy. J.J. McCarthy to the Atlanta Falcons. Raheem Morris, obviously new head coach. Kind of. He's been there before as their interim. But I honestly love the pick. Desmond Ridder is trash. I shouldn't say that because I couldn't do better than what he's done. But I don't think he's long-term. J.J. McCarthy, even if you don't think Ridder is the answer long-term, I do think you could start him week 1. Let McCarthy kind of, just go with it, learn the playbook, learn how, everything goes in the NFL. Kind of just let him develop. If Ridder is doing absolutely horrible, you throw McCarthy in, get him some experience. If Ridder's kind of keeping you afloat, maybe go with the hot hand in practice. I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways the Falcons could go about this if the scenario ends up like this. But I don't hate it at all. McCarthy has a ton of upside. He's a proven winner. He won the damn national championship. He made big plays in the Alabama game. Didn't really have to in the Natty. But, that is what it is. If you don't have to do much, why would you ask someone to do a lot as a quarterback if you can just run the ball the whole game? But McCarthy, I love his arm talent, his athleticism. I think his stature, like his frame, definitely could bulk up a little bit. He's like 6'3", or just above 200 pounds. So he is a little lean, could bulk up a little bit because NFL hits are going to hurt a lot more. But outside of that, one of the youngest quarterback prospects in the entire draft, and you get him here at 8 with a ton of upside and a lot of weapons around him as well with Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I don't mind that situation at all. Pick number 9, one of my favorite prospects, Rome Odunze, goes to Chicago. He says it here. Imagine walking out with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze to add to the Bears offense with Herbert, DJ Moore, and Darnell Mooney. You got some firepower there. Now all you got to do is protect them up front, and you've got a scary, scary offense. And in a division where, even though the Lions went to the NFC Championship, it's wide open, man. That NFC North is wide open. Vikings kind of on the downfall right now, maybe. Packers, you definitely saw the potential. And then the Lions, of course, definitely the favorites for next year, but you never know. Pick number 10. I feel like this has been everyone's pick. It's going to be offensive tackle, and it feels like it's been Talise Fuaga 90% of the time. And I don't hate it because he comes in, you can play him week 1. He is a fantastic run blocker, absolute mauler. I love watching his run blocking game or film. It is unlike anyone else's in this draft. Get Breece Hall some more lanes to run through and maybe even on screens because Fuaga's got some good athleticism to him as well. So, and then you also protect Aaron Rodgers, who you just paid however much and traded for however much to get him. So protect your franchise guys. Then it gives Rodgers the ability to throw downfield to Garrett Wilson, and it opens up a lot more when you have protection, that's for sure. So love the pick here for the Jets. Pick number 11, Dallas Turner for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, obviously, Marcus Davenport isn't there long term. I think he's on like a 2-year max. Daniil Hunter heading for free agency, like Jeremiah highlights here. Get some more pass rush help. You're going to need it, especially in a division where you might have Caleb Williams on top of Jared Goff, who's a good like pocket passer, and then Jordan Love, who is a great improviser as well as a pocket passer. Really like the pick here. You could also definitely go corner, in my opinion. Their secondary has been weak, kind of the weak link, actually, of this entire team, outside of maybe the offensive line for the past 3, even 4 years. So I like this pick. I think they should go defense, help Brian Flores out with some play calling, and get some more, like vary the coverages a little more, get a little more creative on the defensive side, get turnovers, get Cousins maybe, or whoever the quarterback is, the ball more often. I like it. Number 12, so 2 edge players go back to back, and we just kind of got spoiled a little bit on the next 1 to 2 picks, but it is what it is. I like this pick though, Jared Verse. He was my edge 1 for a long, long time until Laiatu Latu just, I couldn't not put him up there. I really like Jared Verse. I think him, Turner, and Latu have kind of separated themselves as the top 3 edge rushers, and then it's kind of the rest of the field. Um, the Broncos lost a lot last year, obviously trading away guys and cutting and whatever it really was. Jared Verse gives you power, he gives you speed, and he gives you run defense, and that's what you want as an edge rusher. You got to be able to contain in the pass game and the run game. Jared Verse can do that for you. Fantastic player, disciplined, mature, everything that you want in an edge. So I love the pick here for the Broncos. And as we saw, his Turner's Alabama teammate, Terran Arnold, who I think could possibly go at 11, goes here at 13 to the Raiders, who have also been known, or not known, but talked about as a quarterback spot along with the Broncos. I forgot to add that. But is Bo Nix worth taking here? I don't know. I think if you are really high on him, he definitely is. I know he's a 5th-year senior and all, coming out 23 years old, but he's still got all the intangibles. He's got the athleticism and everything, so maybe worth a shot here. I don't know how Raiders fans really feel about that. I really like Terran Arnold. He's shown a ton of just playmaking ability on the defensive side. He's got ball skills. He has versatility. He can play inside, outside, wherever you want him. He can rush off the nickel blitz or the dime blitz, whatever you really want to do. Terran Arnold's a great player. Is he my corner one? No. But I definitely understand why people are, mocking him as high as pick 11. So I like the pick here for the Raiders. They've had some trouble in the secondary as well for quite some time. So pick number 14. I feel like this is starting to gain a lot of traction. I see J.C. Latham go here to the Saints quite a bit, and I don't mind it. I mean, you have no idea what Ramchek's going to look like or even how long he has if he comes back, regardless. So getting a guy in J.C. Latham, he is a really good run blocker, developed as a pass blocker, I thought, this year. Looked really, really good in the Michigan game in the semifinal. Just a fantastic tackle. And he has more development to him as well, like a lot more. The potential is sky high for this kid. And he's also, I don't know if I already said it. I feel like I did, but 6'6", 6'7" is a huge man. Huge. So you got to protect your quarterback, right? You have to. J.C. Latham, he can do that for you. I like it. Pick number 15, Nate Wiggins. Could be my cornerback one. I don't know. There's like 5 or 6 guys that could be cornerback one. I really like Nate Wiggins, though. I think I said this in my last mock draft. One of my favorite plays was it BC? Are they playing BC? I did this last time too. I think they were playing BC. Regardless, it was an ACC opponent, and running back takes off through the lane. Nate Wiggins goes from the opposite side of the field, tracks him down. I think it still counted as a touchdown, but he did knock the ball out and like at the one. Don't know if it actually counted. I can't remember. But just the hustle, along with his just instinctual play at the corner position, he can come in, plug and play starter, cornerback one, maybe even two, if you have a better guy there, as soon as he comes in the door. And at the Colts, you already got Kenny Moore, who I don't know how or like what his contract looks like, but you got Juju Brents last year, and he looked really good. That's another big physical corner who's like 6'3". You bring in Nate Wiggins, he's 6'2", I believe. 6'2", over 200 pounds. You're going to have great size. You can match up with just about anyone in the league with those two guys. So I love the pick, honestly. And I mean, Irsay and Chris Ballard, I feel like this is kind of like their guy. Him or like Terrion Arnold, I feel like a guy that they would take. Maybe a Quinion Mitchell even. But I like the pick here at 15. Yeah. I don't really got much more to say as we move on to pick number 16. The Seattle Seahawks go Byron Murphy. Just makes a lot of sense. I still believe in Johnny Newton out of Illinois a lot more. I just think his production and film to me is a lot more consistent than Byron Murphy, but I completely understand. Byron Murphy has a ton of athleticism and upside. He's got explosiveness just out the ass. Like, the kid is really good. So I understand it. And obviously, yeah, Leonard Williams is leaving, who they traded for. Thank you, Seahawks, for the second round pick as a Giants fan. But you get a really good player here in Byron Murphy, and they need some pressure up the middle because I think Nwosu and Boye Mafe, who came along quite nicely this year, I think you have some like decent edge players out there for the time being. So getting a guy on the interior who can create havoc in the run game and the pass game really, really helps. So good pick. Pick number 17. This one also feels like it's getting a little more popular. I think he had this in his first mock as well. Quinion Mitchell to the Jags. I don't really have much to say about it. He's just, I mean, Jeremiah highlights it here. He's got a combination of consistency, elite speed, he's got toughness, he's got instincts, and to add to that, I think he has good ball skills, and he's also just he's very calculated, I would say. Like, yeah. I don't really have much else to say. I'm pretty sure that's where he went last time as well. It's a fantastic fit. You put him across from Tyson Campbell, move Darius Williams back inside to the slot, and you have a fantastic corner rotation in Jacksonville. Pick number 18, Brock Bowers. So he falls to 18. This is the furthest I think I've seen him fall in any of these, like, not professional, but you know what I mean, like NFL insider, draft analyst, whatever. This is definitely the furthest I've seen him fall, at least the mock drafts I've looked at. And I mean, I love the fit. I just don't think he falls this far. And if he does, this is an absolute steal. I still think the Bengals should probably go tackle if the value is right. If it's not, and Brock Bowers is sitting here or someone they feel higher on is sitting there, yeah, go with him because Brock Bowers is exceptional. He's my favorite tight end prospect that I've ever looked into. I think he's fantastic, and he's going to be a day one contributor and maybe even star in the league. Pick number 19, JPJ is moving up boards. Look out, people. Center going at 19. I honestly love it. The Rams still need a ton of help on the O-line, and they kind of figured out the interior a little bit after last year. Steve Avila was awesome. Their second round pick from last year. Is it Kevin Dotson, I believe, looked really good across from Havenstein. So with Jackson Powers Johnson, that really like solidifies your O-line, keeps Matthew Stafford hopefully healthy for a year, and gives him time to really, process the field. And when he can do that, he is dangerous. It also helps in the run game a lot too. JPJ is a mauler in the run game. I love it. He can really be I think, a really good puller in the NFL. Maybe one of the best if he can get to that level, but we'll see. Jackson Powers Johnson, though, really, really good prospect. Pick number 20, Troy Fautanu, or I think that's how you say his name. I've heard it other ways, but I'm going to say Troy Fautanu. Maybe it's Fatanu. I'm not sure. Troy Fautanu. That does sound kind of right. I don't know. Going here to the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, they definitely could use some more O-line help as it is. They're just kind of like an old O-line and declining still. They did get Broderick Jones last year. Fautanu could play guard. That's where a lot of people are projecting him. He played tackle, obviously, this year. He was the blind side for Michael Penix this year at right tackle. So I don't know where the Steelers would project him at if this were to happen. Maybe it's interior because of the arm length and the size. Maybe it's on the outside. I'm not too sure. I think he could be just fine at tackle because if you're part of one of the best offensive lines literally the best offensive line in the country, and you're the blindside blocker, I think you could probably play tackle at the next level. So, like the pick here for the Steelers. As we move to 21, Laiatu Latu to the Miami Dolphins. Sorry. Wow. That's an explosive edge group. Jalen Phillips off of one side, Bradley Chubb off the other, and then Laiatu Latu for probably coming in as a DPR until Chubb or Phillips' contract runs up and they don't want to sign one of them. And it'll be interesting to see which one that would be. Maybe both. Phillips obviously coming off of the Achilles. We'll see how he looks next year. Bradley Chubb, I believe, has had an ACL injury or some sort of major injury. So, I mean, Laiatu Latu doesn't come in and have no injury history. Obviously, the dude was medically retired. Same with Jalen Phillips, though, which is kind of absurd that you'd have both these guys on the same team. Phillips was concussions, though. Laiatu neck. I mean, I love it. That makes that group super versatile. You can move Chubb inside. He's got a lot more size than Latu and Phillips do, and you could have them speed rush. Like, this gives you a lot of versatility along that defensive line. 22, Ennis Rakestraw. Wow, that's high for a Rakestraw. That's CB4, isn't it? Over Kool-Aid McKinstry and Cooper DeJean. Interesting. The Eagles have to address the pass defense this season. Rakestraw brings playmaking ability and toughness. I think DeJean here would be a better pick just because there's so many needs in the secondary for the Eagles. Obviously, Bradbury's probably gone. Avonte Maddox has the slot kind of secured for now. Darius Slay looks like he doesn't have many years on him. Cooper DeJean can play outside. He could play slot. Some people think he can play safety. So I don't know. I still have a lot more film to do on Rakestraw. Daniel Jeremiah has him going here at 22 to the Eagles. I don't hate it because they do need to address the secondary, but I feel like it's a little high for him. Pick number 23, the Houston Texans go Brian Thomas Jr. Wow, CJ Stroud's got weapons. Tank Dell coming back from the broken leg. Nico Collins was incredible last season. Then you add the deep threat, the field stretcher, and Brian Thomas, who's also 6'4", so he could be a damn red zone threat if you wanted him to be. Texans got a very, very explosive offense with Tank Dell in the slot, Nico and Brian Thomas on the outside. I love it. I mean, how can I not? outside of maybe bringing in some protection for CJ Stroud or getting some more help on the defensive side. But if this is your best player on your board when it comes down to it, you might as well take him because CJ Stroud has shown he can put the ball on the money. And for Brian Thomas Jr., that would end up in a lot of production. So, pick number 24. Another one I feel like Daniel Jeremiah had last time. But Tyler Guyton to the Cowboys here. Obviously, Tyron Smith is not getting any younger. Do you move Tyler Smith out, who's been playing really good at guard? I don't know. Guyton can come in. He can learn under Tyron Smith. If someone gets hurt, he can come in and probably fill in the right or left tackle just fine in his rookie year. I think he still has a lot of development. Still a little bit too inconsistent for me to go in the first round. But I completely understand people being really high on all of the athletic traits that Guyton provides. So, fair enough. Cowboys have been known to grab offensive line before it becomes a problem. So, I could definitely see this happening. Pick number 25, Cooper DeJean to the Green Bay Packers. And he does kind of feel like a Packers player, just super versatile. But obviously, they have Joe Barry isn't there anymore. They have a new defensive coordinator. So maybe they switch it up a little bit. I really like this move because they need safety help. They could definitely use corner depth with Jair getting hurt so often, it feels like. And then Eric Stokes basically missing the entire season if he didn't miss the entire season. So you don't want to send out Carrington Valentine, and I think Corey Ballantyne was on the Packers too, maybe. I kind of forget. But you lost Rasul Douglas at the trade deadline. You definitely don't want to be putting Keyshawn Nixon out in the slot on an every week basis. So Cooper DeJean gives you the flexibility. If you need him to go inside, he can. If you want him to go outside, he can. And probably at safety as well. So the combine is going to be a fun one for him. I think his draft stock is really going to skyrocket. And he might not be falling to 25 after it. Pick number 26, AD or Adonai Mitchell from Texas. I don't know if I'd go here in the first round if I were the Bucks, just because I think they have more needs and like positions to basically fill with depth, especially across the defense, maybe even the offensive line. I think you could take a guy like an Amarius Mims here, but I completely understand trying to maybe replace Mike Evans in the future, but you still have Chris Godwin there. I really like Trey Palmer as well. I think if they can't like get a contract done with Evans, I think he gets franchised regardless. At least I'd hope, because you don't want him walking out the door. That'd be kind of wild. So, but Adonai Mitchell, I love him as a prospect. I think if he can clean up some of the body catching that he does at times and the injuries, which I know it kind of just comes with some people, he's going to be a really good player, man. He is a star in the making, in my opinion. He's 6'4", uber athletic. He can go up and get it. His high point is among the best of the class when he does it. And he's got elite speed, in my opinion. So I don't mind it still, even though I think they could have definitely gone a different direction. But this is a mock draft. This is what this is for. Looking at those different perspectives or scenarios, I could see them going receiver, even though maybe I wouldn't. But that's why I'm not an NFL GM. So, pick number 27, Jonathan Gannon gets himself a very nice defender, versatile defender, in Darius Robinson, who is extremely versatile. Like, you could line him up at the 3 tech, you could line him up outside. You might as well put him at the goddamn nose tackle if you really want. You can run stunts with him. He's super explosive as an athlete. He's got great hands. He can beat you around the edge. He can go inside. He's got a lot of moves that he can. like come at you with. So I really like this. Jonathan Gannon has shown with a lot of edge talent that he can get a lot out of him. Even with a little edge talent, he can get a lot out of him. So Darius Robinson would probably be a very productive player for the Cardinals. And I mean, that just adds talent to that D line with BJ Ojolari and Zaven Collins, all those guys. They need some help. Darius Robinson would definitely be that help. Pick number 28, Chop Robinson, goes here. Edge rusher out of Penn State. He's kind of been moved down the board a little bit. And I think this would really benefit that Bills defense. I don't think they have an edge rusher that's really like him. Like, this dude is like twitchy. Like, for an edge rusher especially, I think he's a little bit undersized, like, in the weight department, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think so. But the athleticism is off the charts, and you put him across from, well, I guess not Leonard Floyd anymore. Maybe Von Miller's still there. The Bills definitely could use D-line depth. Greg Rousseau has looked really good. Obviously, Ed Oliver has looked really good. You need a guy on the outside that can get around those tackles, and Chop Robinson could be that guy. Like, explosive off the line, super twitchy, like lateral movements. He has pure bend when it comes to it. So I don't think the Bills have had a player like that in a while. And Chop Robinson's fun, man. He's flashy. Pick number 29, Zach Frazier makes an entrance into the first round. Wow. The guard out of West Virginia. Interesting. I mean, I don't hate it only because we've seen Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes like draft history. They are not afraid of going and getting their guy because they know exactly what they want to do with him, the plan for him. We saw it last year with Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs. That was very, very like debated among like draft insiders in the community. This to me would be no different. Zach Frazier is a really good player. He's one of the better guards and interior O linemen in the draft. So I don't hate it, but I also think I don't know what their free agents look like across the O line, but he might be sitting out for at least this upcoming year. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, I mean, he brings a lot of run blocking, which they love to do. I think he'd be fine as a pass blocker in that kind of play action type offensive scheme. So I don't hate it at all, to be honest. Pick number 30 here is Amarius Mims, and I actually really like this. You could definitely go corner here. Kool-Aid McKinstry still there, and that wouldn't be a bad move for the Ravens, but they also do need O-line help. I mean, you have to protect your franchise guy in Lamar Jackson, and this is someone who can develop as well. You can sit him, let him learn from Morgan Moses and not Orlando Brown, Ronnie Staley. When probably Moses leaves, Amarius Mims steps in, and you got a really good tackle duo for the future, and a guy who's pretty athletic for being 6'7", and you could definitely use him in the run game a decent amount as well as a rookie, and I think he'd be just fine. So I like it, honestly. I really do. Just, I mean, like he says, a really talented player that just falls here at 30, and the Ravens are really good at scooping up like really talented offensive linemen, it seems like. Pick number 31, the Super Bowl losers, San Francisco 49ers, take Graham Barton, who they desperately need. Like, to me, this is the perfect pick for the Niners. He can play tackle if you really want him to, but at the NFL level, a lot of projections are going to the inside, and I think he would be just fine at guard, left or right. And it just helps out your offensive line because outside of Trent Williams, we saw they do not have a lot. Aaron Banks is not great. Colton McKivitz, not great. Like those two alone, actually, if they would have blocked Chris Jones on 2 separate plays, the Niners might have won that game by 2 touchdowns. Like, not even kidding. So, Graham Barton brings a lot of depth, brings some talent to the O-line, and he has some versatility as well. I think he's played every position along the offensive line, like not left guard, left tackle, center, like not like that, but like he's played like a small amount of center snaps. He's played some guard snaps, and he's also played, I believe, right and left tackle. So brings a lot of versatility and a lot of talent to that, well, under talented, I guess, not very talented offensive line of the Niners. Great pick. Pick number 32, Kansas City Chiefs go Troy Franklin and pair him up with Rashee Rice. Here's your deep threat in Troy Franklin, and a good one at that. 6'3", over 200 pounds. I really like Troy Franklin. I think he could be a steal. I don't think some people really are taking him into account in this wide receiver class, at least the top part of it, just because they have favorites like maybe a Tez Walker or maybe Xavier Worthy goes over him, Malachi Corley. This receiving class is really talented, so I understand. Even Xavier Legette, who I'm not a big fan of, I know people would have him over Troy Franklin. I think Troy Franklin had obviously he had a great amount of production this past year for Oregon. And on top of that, he's got athleticism and he's got great speed to get over the top of defenses that the Chiefs have kind of missed since trading away Tyreek Hill. So I really like the pick. Really like this mock draft, actually. I thought mixed it up a little bit. Yeah, there were some picks that DJ had, that were kind of similar. I know people are going to be really frustrated probably with JJ McCarthy inside the top 8, but I mean, that kind of is what it is at this point. I think you have to kind of look into it. I know a lot of people just don't like JJ McCarthy just because maybe they're not Michigan fans or they just don't think he's good. You got to look at the film. You got to look at the intangibles. This is what the scouts go off of. Why would a guy like Anthony Richardson last year go top 5? I mean, the Florida Gators were, 6-6 last year. What did he do? Still went top 5. It's the arm talent. It's the athleticism. It's the football IQ, the interviews at the combine, which are also huge, that we will know nothing about. There's a lot of things that goes into this, and JJ McCarthy has been soaring up some boards. Like I said, NFC East team, top 2 quarterback. Maybe JJ McCarthy goes number 2 on draft day. We will find out. But thank you guys so much for watching this Daniel Jeremiah mock draft 2.0 and reacting to it with me. This was a fun one. Imagine we're going to get some more mock drafts here soon. Some Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Field Yates, I guess. Bucky Brooks again. I don't know what we're going to see, but this one was a good one to go over. Definitely has some different views on what teams could be looking at. So, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Running back top 10 out maybe before this video. I am not sure yet. You might get a double upload or back-to-back days. But it'll be out really, really soon, either after this video or even before. So tune into that as well. And take it easy. Peace.